over in the transaction. And so some of the things that we can talk about. We can talk about how long it takes to close. If you will have anything that's left inside the home, such as some fixtures that they may want to take down and take with them, all those have to be negotiated. They can't just up and take everything out the home, because when you came and looked at the home, you may have liked it out of that because of that one feature. So that is something that you would need to negotiate within the contract, and that would be a part of the contract. Also, if in fact they cannot move, at the closing or give you the keys at closing, then at that point you need to negotiate that. You also need to negotiate your due diligence amount of time, because again, you want to get someone out to inspect the property. So all these type of things need to be included, as well as the earnest money needs to be included in that contract, and it is to protect you as well as protect them. So during that contract writing process, we need to make sure that everything's included prior to going to close and or coming to an agreement. Now let's talk about the rising prices. Searches for the phrase, when is the housing market going to crash, are up 2,450% over the past month. Similarly, Americans are searching in droves for explanations to why the housing market is so hot and why home prices are rising, Google reported, MarketWatch. So the one reason why prices are so high is because it's limited housing. So if you don't have the homes in the market, then that means that one home is going to have a lot of activity where there's going to be multiple people trying to get it, which then drives the price up. So with that being said, that contributes greatly to why the housing market is so expensive right now. Recession, housing crisis. House prices during the last 5 recessions. So let's talk a little bit about 2008. I think everybody experienced 2008 when the real estate market crashed and homes were going into foreclosure. People were losing them due to having those adjustable arms. Also, at that time, people were losing their jobs. It just was a multitude of things that were going on at the time, which caused the housing market to crash. And even, I'll just share an experience with me as far as investment. I had a few investment homes, and at the time I had tenants in there, and I had a mortgage on them. Unfortunately, when that market crashed, so did the value. The value went with it. So at that point, if I bought a home at that time, one of my homes were appraising at about 130, but when the market crashed, it was worth about 80. So I did lose quite a bit of money during that time in 2008, which is a time I never forget. But then it started to, but if you think about it, from 2001, it was appreciating. 1999, it dipped down. So, and then 1981, it was appreciating. But let's fast forward till today. Till today, even though we had COVID back in 2019, 2020 is when COVID kind of surfaced. The market again went through a strange period because everybody was uncertain to what was going to happen. But then right at the end of 2020, the house price went crazy, multiple offers. You may have 20 offers on one home because there wasn't enough property at that time and the interest rates were down. So, and that's another thing that will cause the prices of the home to jump up because the interest rate are so low, and people that are, stable enough can go in to the market and buy the homes. So once again, this is not 2018, and at this point, the way the housing market is going, it is pandemic related. So it's not affecting, bad loans, adjustable mortgages, or things like that. Now we're dealing with coming out of the pandemic moment and possibly, maybe people losing their jobs at this point. And you may see a few homes going to foreclosure, but not necessarily with what's going on, because if a person is able to rebound fast enough, if they lose their job or have lost their job during pandemic, you notice the prices are still going up. So we're going to talk about where buyer demand comes from. With banks being so careful, the demand seen in the market housing today is much more organic. And the lifestyle changes brought about by the pandemic is not only reason why demand has surged. Current demand is built on significant growing demographic wave, as we have many millennials turning 30, a key age for first-time home buying. The common wisdom is real estate is that people are primarily motivated to buy a home not because of the low interest rates or the investment potential, but because of life changes. Millennials are the largest generation, and they are getting married and having kids, so they're starting their families. As they experience these major milestones, owning a home is becoming a bigger priority. The backyard, the swings, the being able to barbecue. The demand of housing also triggered a building craze. Last year saw a 12% gain in the construction of single-family homes. The sudden increase in home building activity has since caused a surge in the prices for lumber, driving up the prices of new homes even higher. And even I was in the market to get my home built, but after I priced it out, and just to give you an example, the home that would generally cost you about $600,000 is now costing you close to $1 million because of the lumber prices. Just to give you an idea of how the lumber prices have went up as well. So inflation is definitely in effect. Now, I will say, since 2008, unemployment, jobs recovering faster than prior recessions, that is true. So speeding up now to pandemic, if someone is losing their job, they are able to find another. I'm not going to say that's for everybody, but for the majority, even if that means them relocating, they have been able to. So with them recovering, then that is also helping to keep the housing market intact. And so again, this is just a slide about the influence of job changes. So if you take a look, you'll see, just for an example, we'll talk about the government. You see that it has just a little bit of blue, and then you see the transportation and housing. So the job recovery has, had its changes of recovering. So if you see the numbers also with the leisure and hospitality, which is a big one, February to April, but then May to February it recovered faster, basically based on a pandemic influence. Now let's talk about affordability. So during 2020, with COVID in full effect, or the pandemic, you should say, the affordability was there because the interest rate was low. which with the low interest rate, it allows you to qualify for more of a house. If the interest rate are higher, then you will qualify for a less amount of the house. So